February and March is where I'm pulling in $40,000, $50,000 a month. It gives me chills to speak about it because you give them your dream, and all they'll come up with 5 reasons for you to fail.
What's the most you made in 1 year selling cars?
$800,000, $700,000.
Today we're gonna meet this entrepreneur that was able to make millions of dollars with his dealership and real estate, and he's gonna show us exactly how he was able to do it. All right.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, brother? It's a pleasure to see you, man.
Same here, man. Pleasure to see you guys.
So, Dorain, I guess I want to start off. How did you get started in business?
I started out by flipping cars, salvage cars first, then regular cars. So that was my first introduction, and then taking a leap of faith from that point to actually getting a car dealership license and getting a car lot.
What was your transition like going from a car dealership jumping into real estate?
Yeah, the transition was made because I realized there was so much money as well to be made, not only in the cars, but also in real estate. I did have a passion for real estate as well, because my parents did lose 2 homes to unfortunate cycles of the downside of real estate. In the car business, I was able to fund my first deal in real estate. I made $125,000 on my first real estate deal. I mean, after I made my first deal in real estate of $125,000 in less than 6 months, it was like a no-brainer at that point. I jumped right into real estate full blown.
So, Dorain, what's the most you made in 1 year selling cars?
$800,000, $700,000, you know, easily. That's when I had the bigger lot, you know. It all depends on the size of the lot. No, it's definitely, you know, a lot of money to be made in the car business, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. You know, there's bumps and bruises along the way. You just gotta keep yourself educated. What cars are hot, what cars people are buying in your community, what cars people want, you know, in the area. What's hot sellers, obviously, we all know what they are. Typically Hondas, you know, Toyotas.
What has been like your best investment since you started making money?
So my best investment overall, the investment I made on myself. Educating yourself, having great mentorships, becoming an expert on your niche, you know, whatever it is. Cars, real estate, you know, media, whatever it is, you know, restaurants, you know, everything. So you become the best version of yourself by educating yourself and investing in yourself. That's really the biggest key.
Me and Dorain are starting a podcast. We're gonna drop our video in about 2 weeks or so. So if you guys are interested in hearing more conversations with me and Dorain, I'm gonna leave the YouTube channel down below in the description. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. How can somebody get started buying and selling cars? What would be like your recommendation?
So my recommendation would be start small and obviously scale yourself up. Buy a car, whether it's on the street from a private seller who's selling, you know, a decent car for, you might know the history. They might know the history, has it a few years, because that way you have some history on the vehicle, some records, some receipts. You want to buy something that's in decent shape so you don't have a headache. You know, that's the bottom line.
What would you recommend for somebody just getting started? Do you recommend the auction, or do you recommend going down, like you said, the private party route in Facebook Marketplace?
If you don't have knowledge on the mechanic side, you shoot yourself to the auction, you'll be blindsided because you won't even know half the things that you're looking up on the code. Let's say you take a scanner with you, I recommend you get yourself a scanner. It's definitely good to start buying cars privately because you can educate yourself so much by just buying from a person who's done some maintenance to the car. You'll know right away as soon as you go to the buyer or the seller if they've done some maintenance to it, and they'll tell you exactly what they've done to the car, which is a very good and very important for you as a reseller.
When you go into the auction, you're pretty much just going based off your own mechanical experience. And if you're not somebody who's not mechanically inclined, you don't know what to look for in cars, you might run into a situation like you said where you buy a lemon, your 4 or 5 grand is down the drain. What are 3 tips you can give somebody just getting started in business?
One, against, you know, obviously educate yourself on whatever your business you're going to go into. Number 2 is take the risk, you know, take the risk on yourself. And number 3 would be around good people that are going to help you and push you the right way. You know what I mean? That's leveraging good people and good character people around you. I've been around people that have been so negative in my life, and I keep away from those people because you tell someone an idea, you give them a dream, and it gives me chills to speak about it because you give them your dream, and all they'll come up with 5 reasons for you to fail. Where all in reality, all you need is 1 reason to fail. So stay away from people like that. Don't be afraid to share what you know, because at the end of the day, there's money for everyone to be made. Trust me and believe me. That's a fact.
So if you have a 25 car lot, how much do you expect to like make on that lot?
Excellent. So when I started, I didn't know about these numbers, but what I realized over the years, over 15 years of being in the business and actually renting and owning my own car lot, was making around $300,000 to $400,000. I started at an 80 to 100, then I downsized to a 30 to about this same size here, and then ultimately back to another 40 to 50. So in those years, it equated to basically the amount of cars you have. That's the revenue. You got to multiply by 10. That's what I kind of got from my experience on that.
What's the difference between like leasing and owning a lot?
So leasing and owning, obviously when you lease, you're basically paying someone else's mortgage and also rent, and obviously giving them extra cash flow. So what I decided after my 7th year of renting, which was very difficult because when you rent, obviously you're giving money away. It was very hard just to hand that check over. And ultimately I said, let me just own, obviously that's the dream. So I decided to buy, and I got an SBA loan to get a commercial property, which was already established dealership. And I got into it. It took about 3 to 4 months. That's another subject. But yeah, so the benefit was it went down because I got a great rate. I obviously negotiated the price to a good price. So it saved myself about $1,000. Plus I was putting money
like
into
$12,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. Plus the extra, some of the principal was going to me as well, to my loan, which was paying down as opposed to just renting. So yeah, it's so much benefit to owning your property. Everyone knows that real estate is king. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to buy, ultimately that's the goal when you're in this business.
I know there's a lot of people watching the video who are probably beginners and are just getting started. How much should somebody that wants to get started, should they have liquid in order to get into a lot?
Something like this?
Yeah.
75,000, because you have to buy inventory at this point, you know what I mean? 25 cars, 25 cars, plus rent, plus you want to have a little protection cushion, your insurances. So yeah, 75 to 100,000 is comfortable. You know what I mean? This is a smaller lot. $100,000 really is that's you're gonna make that. You're gonna make that back in your first year.
For somebody looking to get in, you said you need about 100 grand. Somebody probably watching this, probably, okay, if I put 100 grand down, what should I expect to make back? So we could talk about your personal experience. What was like your worst year as far as take home gross profit?
But yeah, my worst year was around COVID, right around the time I was getting out of the business. Everything slowed down. But my best years, I was making $500,000 easily. You know what I mean? Anywhere from my smaller lot, $250,000 to $500,000 easy. No problem. And a lot of that money is just daily grind and hustle, with the cars. But there's times where you have to just stay on the grind, because there's going to be slow months. Winter. In the winter time, it slows down a little bit right before Christmas and all that. The business slows down, but you have to prepare yourself, and that's when you're hot in the summer and tax season, you build yourself up, your capital, so that when times like December come, when it's slow for us in the car business, you have to have that little liquidity that you can, if you have to dig into your savings, because when tax season comes, which is right on the corner after January, December, people start looking for cars because they know they're getting their income taxes, and that's the season that you really can kill it. I mean, I remember some Februarys and Marches where I'm pulling in, $40,000, $50,000 a month. You know what I mean? That's take home. You know what I mean? Easy. So yeah, that's really where you make your money on those months. So yeah, there's good highs and lows on this business, but you have to stay focused and be smart about your money, when you start getting into this business. He knows a lot as well, but there's definitely stories that, like I said, bumps and bruises along the way, that if you have good people around you like him and I who have experience in this business, we could definitely help guide and, help you and prevent you from at least taking some of those steps that are going to hurt you because you weren't aware, because you didn't know the logistics or whatever the case may be, whether it's a car, whether it's the actual lot like we're in right now, whether it's, it's different dimensions to the business as well. But yeah, we're definitely here for, for any kind of, guidance we can give, so.
As I mentioned before, guys, me and Dorian are starting a podcast. I did leave the link down below. If you guys want to see more conversations with us two, where we talk more about business, crypto, and real estate, definitely subscribe, because we're going to be giving away a lot of free game on there. And yeah, stay tuned. What are 3 tips for anybody looking to get into a lot?
If you're getting into a lot, just be prepared to make sure you have someone who's handy in the lot, someone who can help you take care of your cars, maintain them, keep them shiny. And also, obviously, one of the biggest things that I told, and me and him discuss this all the time, is you have to have a good mechanic on your side. So yeah, that's the biggest key, is having a good, decent mechanic. If you're a mechanic yourself, you're already ahead of the game. If you don't find a good mechanic, start building a relationship with a mechanic that's going to give you good pricing, it's going to be fair with you, and it's going to give you, the edge when it comes to having your cars repaired. That's really the biggest key, honestly. One of the biggest keys.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, brother. Good stuff, guys. Let's go. Let's get this money, man. Let's get this car money.